On our 35th wedding anniversary, my husband called to tell me he'd booked a family vacation to Hawaii, for everyone except me. The rental only had 2 bedrooms, he said, and his mother needed her own space. I'm Dorothy Washington. I'm 62 years old. I said, "Okay, honey, you all have a wonderful time." Then I decided to do something about it. If you're listening from somewhere far away, drop your city in the comments so I can see how far this has traveled. And please stay with me until the end. My name is Dorothy Marie Washington, though everyone's called me Dot since I was 5 years old. I was born in Birmingham, Alabama, in 1962, the year my mother saved every extra dollar from her nursing job to move us to Los Angeles. She wanted better for me. She got it. I became a teacher, spent 38 years shaping young minds at Washington Elementary in Inglewood, retired 2 years ago with a pension and the satisfaction of knowing I'd made a difference. I met Robert Hayes in 1987 at a community fundraiser. He was 23, I was 27, a handsome young accountant with ambition in his eyes and charm in his smile. We married 6 months later. Too fast, my mother said. But I was in love, and love makes you deaf to warnings. We had 2 children. Michael came first in 1991. He's 33 now, lives in Atlanta, works in tech. Smart boy, got his father's head for numbers and my stubborn streak. Then Sarah in 1994, she's 30, a social worker in New York City, got my heart for helping people. They're good kids. I raised them right. The house we live in, the one on 847 Maple Street in View Park, that's mine. Well, it was supposed to be mine. My mother passed in 1995, left me $80,000. It was everything she had. Every overtime shift, every skipped vacation, every no she told herself so she could say yes to my future. I took that money and bought our house, put down the full $80,000. The mortgage was in my name. The deed was in my name. Dorothy Marie Washington, sole owner. That was 29 years ago. Robert always handled the finances. "I'm an accountant, honey," he'd say. "Let me take care of the boring stuff." So I did. I focused on the children, on my classroom, on building our life. We kept separate bank accounts. His idea. "It's cleaner this way," he said. "We're both independent people." I paid the mortgage, the utilities, the property tax, the homeowners association fees. He paid for, well, I'm not entirely sure what he paid for. His car, I suppose, his clothes, gifts for his mother. Barbara Hayes, my mother-in-law, 80 years old and still treats me like I'm not good enough for her son. For 35 years, I've cooked her Sunday dinners, driven her to doctor's appointments, sat with her during her chemotherapy treatments 3 years ago. Last Christmas, she gave me a used candle, one she'd received and didn't like. She gave Robert a Rolex, but I accepted it. That's what you do in a marriage, right? You accept, you compromise, you keep the peace, until the peace becomes a lie. It was Tuesday, November 14th, 2024. I remember because I'd taken the day off from my part-time library job to prepare something special. 35 years of marriage deserved celebration. I'd made Robert's favorite meal, smothered pork chops, collard greens, macaroni and cheese, cornbread from scratch using my mother's recipe. I'd set the table with our good china, the Lennox set we got as a wedding gift and almost never used. The pork chops were cooling on the stove when my phone rang. Robert's name on the screen. He should have been at the office. Coleman and Associates, the mid-sized accounting firm where he'd worked for 23 years. "Hello, sweetheart," I answered, wiping my hands on my apron. "Dot, I need to tell you something." His voice was flat, professional, like I was a client, not his wife of 35 years. "What's wrong? Are you okay?" "I'm fine. Listen, I've booked a family trip to Hawaii. We leave next Wednesday, November 22nd. 7 days at the Maui Palms Resort." My heart lifted. Hawaii. We'd always talked about Hawaii. "Oh, Robert, that's wonderful. I'll need to—" "The thing is, the rental only has 2 bedrooms. Mom needs her own space. You know how she is about her privacy. And with the prices right now, getting a bigger place would be, well, it would be irresponsible. So it'll be me, Mom, and the kids." I stood very still in my kitchen. The good china gleamed on the table. The pork chops were getting cold. "I see," I said. My voice sounded strange to me, distant. "I knew you'd understand. You're always so understanding, Dot. That's what I love about you. Oh, and while we're gone, don't forget to water the plants, especially my orchids. You know how particular they are." "The orchids," I repeated. "Right. Thanks, honey. I've got to run. Client meeting in 5. Love you. He hung up. I stood there holding my phone, looking at my anniversary dinner, thinking about the new dress hanging in my closet upstairs. Navy blue with gold buttons. I'd bought it on sale 3 weeks ago, imagining us at a nice restaurant. Him telling me I looked beautiful. The phone buzzed in my hand. A text message in the family group chat, the one labeled Hayes Family that I'd been added to 5 years ago. It was from Barbara. Hawaii trip. Everyone remember sunscreen. Supposed to be hot this year. Can't wait. A flood of responses. Sarah with a sun emoji. Michael with count me in. Robert with a thumbs up. I scrolled up through the chat history. Planning messages going back 2 weeks. Discussion of flight times. Debate over resort activities. A poll about restaurant preferences. I hadn't received any of those messages. I opened the group info. 23 members. Robert's entire family. His cousins, his uncle, his aunt, his childhood friends that were like family. My name was there, Dorothy Washington. But my number was muted. Had been muted according to the settings since the group was created on October 28, 2024. 17 days ago. They'd planned a family vacation, discussed it for 2 weeks, and deliberately kept me out of the conversation. I set my phone down very carefully on the counter. I turned off the stove. I covered the pork chops with foil. I put the sides in containers and stored them in the refrigerator. Then I went upstairs, changed out of the dress I'd put on for our anniversary dinner, and sat on the edge of my bed in the quiet house. My mother used to say, "Baby, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time." This wasn't the first time. It was the 3rd annual Hawaii trip I'd been excluded from. The first year, 2022, Robert said it was too soon after my retirement. I needed to rest. The second year, 2023, he said Sarah was going through a breakup and needed family support, and having me there would be too much. Now, in 2024, he didn't even bother with an excuse. Just the rental only has 2 bedrooms. I picked up my phone and called Patricia Johnson. Patricia and I met at UCLA in 1980. We were both scholarship kids, her from Compton, me from South Central. We studied together, struggled together, celebrated together when we both graduated in 1984. She went to law school, I went into teaching, but we stayed close. Best friends for 44 years. She picked up on the second ring. Dot? What's wrong? See, that's real friendship. She heard it in my voice before I said a word. Pat, I need your legal advice. Professional or personal? Both. 20 minutes later, she was at my door with 2 cups of coffee from the Starbucks on Crenshaw and a box of tissues. We sat at my kitchen table, the one still set with good china, and I told her everything. She listened without interrupting. That's what good lawyers do. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Dot, she said finally, in 35 years of marriage, what do you actually know about Robert's finances? He makes about $90,000 a year, gives me $1,000 a month for household expenses. The rest he says he invests for our retirement. Do you know where? I opened my mouth, closed it. No. Do you know how much is in his accounts? He said around $200,000 last we talked about it. That was, God, maybe 3 years ago? Do you have access to those accounts? No. He said it was cleaner to keep things separate. Pat pulled out her phone and started taking notes. And the house. You said the original deed was in your name only? Yes. I bought it with my mother's money in 1995. But about 10 years ago, 2014, I think, Robert asked me to add his name. He said it looked bad at work that his name wasn't on his own house, that the partners were asking questions, so I did. Do you have the paperwork from that? It should be in Robert's office. He has a filing cabinet. Can you get into it? I thought about the locked office door, Robert's private space. 35 years, and I'd never gone in there without permission. I can get in, I said. Pat reached across the table and took my hand. Dot, I've handled a lot of divorce cases, and I'm seeing some red flags here. Before you do anything, I want you to understand, this might get ugly. You think I should get a divorce? I think you should protect yourself. There's a difference. She squeezed my hand. Tonight, when Robert's not home, I want you to go into that office. Look for 3 things: the house deed, bank statements, and anything with both your names on it. Take pictures of everything. Don't move anything. Just document. What if he catches me? Tell him you were looking for the warranty information on the refrigerator. Tell him anything. But Dot, she looked at me hard. This is important. Whatever you find, don't confront him yet. Not until we know everything. After she left, I sat in my kitchen as the afternoon faded to evening. Robert called at 6 to say he was working late. He'd been working late a lot lately, 3-4 times a week for the past 6 months. At 8 o'clock, I stood outside his office door with the emergency key we kept in the kitchen drawer. My hand shook as I unlocked it. The office was exactly as Robert liked it, obsessively organized. Books arranged by height on the shelves. Desk clear except for his computer and a single pen. Filing cabinet in the corner, labeled drawers. I started with the filing cabinet. The top drawer held household documents. I found the mortgage statements, all in my name, as I'd been paying them. The utility bills, also mine. Insurance policies, mine. The second drawer held tax returns. I pulled out the most recent one from 2023. Robert's declared income, $127,000, not $90,000, $127,000. That was the first crack. I kept looking, found bank statements from an account I didn't know existed. Wells Fargo, account number ending in 7734. Balance as of October 2024, $847,000 and $293. $847,000, not $200,000. Nearly $1 million. Second crack. I photographed everything, hands shaking so badly I had to retake several shots. Then I found the folder labeled Property Documents. Inside was our deed. The house at 847 Maple Street. I read it carefully. Current owners, Robert Hayes and Dorothy Washington, joint tenancy with right of survivorship, 50-50. But I remembered, I knew that wasn't right. I'd added Robert's name, yes, but it was supposed to be tenancy in common. Me 85%, him 15%, reflecting my mother's down payment and my years of mortgage payments. This deed was dated August 15th, 2014. The notary seal looked slightly blurred. The signature, my signature, looked close, but the capital D in Dorothy was wrong. I always loop my D twice. This one only had one loop. Third crack. I was about to close the folder when I saw another paper clipped to the back. A mortgage application. Bank of America. Date, September 3rd, 2024. 2 months ago. Amount requested, $500,000. Property, 847 Maple Street, Los Angeles. SIA 90043. Applicant signatures, Robert Hayes and Dorothy Washington. I stared at my signature. I had never signed this document. I had never even seen this document. Someone had forged my name to try to mortgage my house for $500,000. I took pictures of everything, put everything back exactly as I found it, locked the office door, walked downstairs on legs that barely supported me. In the kitchen, I sent all the photos to Patricia with a message. Found something. Call me. She called 30 seconds later. Dot, tell me what I'm looking at. I told her. All of it. The income discrepancy, the hidden account, the deed that wasn't what I remembered, the mortgage application I'd never signed. Jesus Christ, Patricia breathed. Dot, listen to me very carefully. Do not, and I mean do not, let Robert know you found this. Not yet. Tomorrow morning you're coming to my office. We're going to the county recorder's office to pull the original deed records. And then, she paused. Then we're going to find out exactly what your husband has been doing. I hung up and sat in my dark kitchen. Outside, a car pulled into the driveway. Robert was home. I heard his key in the lock, his footsteps in the hallway. Honey, you still up? In the kitchen, I called. My voice sounded normal, steady. He came in, loosened his tie, kissed the top of my head. He smelled like cologne. Expensive cologne, not the one I'd bought him for Christmas. Long day, he said. What's for dinner? I looked at him, this man I'd been married to for 35 years, who'd just kissed me with another woman's perfume probably still on his collar, who had nearly $1 million I didn't know about, who'd forged my signature on legal documents. There's pork chops in the fridge, I said. I made them for our anniversary. He had the grace to look embarrassed. Oh, honey, I'm sorry. I completely forgot. Work has been crazy. How about I make it up to you this weekend? We'll go somewhere nice. That sounds lovely, I said. He heated up his dinner. We sat together at the table while he ate. He told me about his day, Some story about a difficult client, a deadline, paperwork. I nodded in all the right places, asked appropriate questions, all while thinking, I don't know this man at all. The next morning, Robert left for work at 7:30 a.m. like always. By 8 a.m., I was at Patricia's office on the 23rd floor of a building downtown, watching the city wake up through her window. By 9 a.m., we were at the Los Angeles County Registrar Recorder/County Clerk's office. The clerk, a tired-looking woman named Maria, pulled up the property records for 847 Maple Street. Here's your original deed from 1995, she said, turning her computer screen toward us. Owner, Dorothy Marie Washington. Sole ownership, tenancy and severalty. And the modification in 2014? Patricia asked. Maria clicked through. Here, filed August 15th, 2014. Change of ownership to add Robert Hayes, but... She squinted at the screen. It shows tenancy in common, not joint tenancy. Dorothy Washington, 85%. Robert Hayes, 15%. I looked at Patricia. She looked at me. That's not what the current deed in my house says, I told Maria. Ma'am, the county record is the legal record. If you have a different document, someone either made an error or... She chose her words carefully. Or that document isn't authentic. Patricia leaned forward. Can you check if there are any liens or loans against this property? Maria typed. Frowned. Typed more. There's a mortgage application flagged here from September 2024. Bank of America. $500,000. But it shows as withdrawn. Bank rejected it. Why? Patricia asked. Signature verification failed. The bank's fraud department flagged inconsistencies in the borrower signatures and requested in-person verification. When the borrowers didn't show up for the appointment, she read from the screen, the application was denied and reported. Robert had tried to steal $500,000 from our house. The bank had caught him, and he'd never told me. We thanked Maria and left. In Patricia's car, I sat very still. He tried to mortgage my house, I said, without my knowledge, using a forged signature. Yes. And when the bank caught him, he just what? Moved on to Plan B? Patricia started the engine but didn't drive. Dot, there's more going on here. Men don't hide $1 million and forge documents for no reason. They do it because they're planning something. Like what? Like leaving. The word hung in the air between us. I need to see his computer, I said. Dot, I need to see his computer, Pat. Tonight, while he's at work. That evening, Robert called at 5:30. Working late again. Client dinner. Don't wait up. I went into his office at 6. His computer was password protected, but I knew Robert. He was meticulous, organized, and used the same password for everything. Barbara 0815. His mother's name and birthday. The computer unlocked. I went straight to his email. Started with the most recent and worked backward. October 30th, 2024, from someone named Ashley Morgan. Can't wait for Maui, baby. 7 days of paradise. I told everyone I'm going on a yoga retreat. LOL. See you at the airport. Love you. October 28th, 2024, from Robert to Ashley. Booked the flights. Maui Palms Resort, 2 bedrooms. You, me, Mom, and the kids. My wife thinks it's a family trip. She's not invited. Don't worry. She'll never know. October 15th, 2024, from Robert's lawyer, a name I didn't recognize, David Kelly at Kelly & Burns, with an attachment labeled Petition for Dissolution of Marriage, draft.pdf. I opened it with hands I could barely feel. Petition for Dissolution of Marriage. Case number to be assigned. Petitioner, Robert James Hayes. Respondent, Dorothy Marie Washington. I scrolled down to the Property Division section. Petitioner requests the following division of community property. Residence at 847 Maple Street, Los Angeles, California, 90043, valued at approximately $900,000, to be sold with proceeds divided 50-50 between parties, $450,000 each. Petitioner's retirement accounts total $427,000 to remain separate property. Respondent's retirement accounts total $78,000 to remain separate property. Below that, in an email from Robert to David Kelly, dated October 16th. David, I want to move quickly on this. After the Hawaii trip in November, I'll come back and file. Dorothy is 62, no longer working full-time. She won't fight hard. She's too proud to make a scene. The house is our biggest asset. With the 50-50 split, I can walk away with $450,000 clean. Combined with my other investments, Ashley and I will have more than enough to retire to Florida. Timeline: file December 1st, serve her December 5th, finalized by February. Let's make this fast and clean. Another email, October 20th, from Robert to Ashley. The plan is set, baby. After Hawaii, I'm filing for divorce. The house will sell for around $900,000. I get half, $450,000, plus I have $847,000 in my account, plus the Miami condo we just bought, $380,000. That's $1.67 million total. We can retire at 58 and 45. Florida, here we come. Dorothy will be fine. She has her teacher's pension and Social Security. She's a survivor. I read that email 3 times. Miami condo. We just bought. I searched his email for Miami and condo. Found confirmation from a real estate agent. Congratulations on your purchase of Unit 7B, Ocean View Towers, Miami Beach. Closing date, September 15th, 2024. Purchase price, $380,000. Attached was the deed. Owners, Robert Hayes and Ashley Morgan. He'd bought a condo with another woman. Using money from... I clicked through more emails. Using money from the secret Wells Fargo account. The one with $847,293 that I wasn't supposed to know about. No. Wait. I opened his most recent bank statement. October 2024. Balance $427,109. In September, the balance had been $847,293. He'd withdrawn $420,184 in September. Transfer to ARM Holdings, LLC. I searched his email for ARM Holdings. Found the incorporation papers. ARM Holdings, LLC, registered in Delaware. Officers, Ashley Renee Morgan and Robert James Hayes. They'd created a company together, bought property together, planned a life together. While I was teaching children to read at the library and cooking his mother's Sunday dinners and paying his mortgage. I found photos. Robert and Ashley at a beach. Not Maui, somewhere else. Both in swimsuits, his arm around her waist. She was young, maybe mid-40s, with long dark hair and a bright smile. Beautiful. The photo was dated August 2023, over a year ago. More photos, dozens of them. Restaurants, hotels, weekend trips. Always the same woman. Always Robert looking happier than I'd seen him in years. And then I found the folder labeled DR Plan. DR? Divorce Robert? No. I opened it. Inside was a document titled Financial Strategy Post-Separation. It was a spreadsheet. Detailed, organized. Very Robert. Current assets, October 2024. Wells Fargo account. $427,109 Miami condo, 50% ownership. $190,000. Retirement accounts, $427,000. Expected from house sale, 50%. $450,000. Total, $1,494,109. Dorothy's expected assets. Teacher's pension, $2,800 per month equals $33,600 per year. Social Security at 62, $1,400 per month equals $16,800 per year times retirement account. $78,000 times expected from house sale, 50%. $450,000 times. Total, $528,000 plus $50,400 per year income. Assessment. Dorothy will be financially stable. $450,000 from house sale can purchase smaller condo. Combined with pension and SS, she'll have adequate retirement income. Age 62 equals unlikely to seek spousal support. Too proud. No dependent children. Clean separation feasible. Below that, in Robert's handwriting, she'll be fine. She doesn't need much. Never has. I sat back in his chair and stared at that line. She doesn't need much. Never has. 35 years of marriage. 2 children raised. His mother cared for. His house paid for with my mother's money. His dinners cooked. His clothes washed. His life supported. And his assessment of me was, she doesn't need much. I took pictures of everything. Every email, every document, every photo, every spreadsheet. Then I closed his computer, turned off the monitor, and walked downstairs. At the kitchen table, I called Patricia. "He's leaving me," I said. "Has a girlfriend. Bought a condo with her in Miami. He's filing for divorce December 1st. He thinks I'll be fine with half the house and my pension." Patricia was quiet for a moment. "How much does he have hidden?" "Almost $1.5 million. And Pat," my voice broke for the first time, "he thinks I'm too old and too proud to fight back." "Oh, Dot." Her voice was soft, dangerous. "That man has no idea who he married. Forward me everything, every single document. Tomorrow we start building our case. And Dot?" "Yes?" "We're not going to just fight back. We're going to take him apart." I hung up and sat in my dark kitchen, thinking about the pork chops I'd made for our anniversary, the good china I'd set out, the navy dress still hanging in my closet. Robert came home at midnight. I was in bed, pretending to sleep. He slipped in beside me, smelling of wine and that expensive cologne. "Love you, honey," he whispered. I kept my eyes closed and my breathing even, but I didn't sleep. I was too busy planning. The morning after I found Robert's divorce plan, I woke up at 5:30 a.m., not because I'd slept, but because I'd been lying there calculating for hours. By 6, I was dressed in my church clothes, cream blouse, navy slacks, my mother's pearl earrings. By 7, I was sitting in Patricia's office with 2 folders of printed evidence. "Coffee?" she offered, but I shook my head. "I need a clear head for this." Patricia sat across from me and opened her legal pad. "November 15th, 2024, she wrote at the top. Then she looked at me with the expression I'd seen her use in court. Sharp, focused, ready. "Okay, Dot, here's what we're dealing with. Your husband has committed multiple acts of fraud. He forged your signature on a deed modification. He attempted to obtain a mortgage without your knowledge or consent. He's hidden approximately $847,000 in assets. And he's planning to file for divorce while claiming you're entitled to only 50% of the house value. What do I do?" My voice was steady. I was proud of that. "We move first, fast, and strategically." She pulled out a timeline. "Today is Thursday, November 15th. Robert leaves for Hawaii on Wednesday, November 22nd. That gives us 7 days to put everything in place before he even knows we're coming. What's step 1? We secure the house. The deed in the county records shows you own 85%, him 15%. That's legal fact. The forged deed he has means nothing. It was never filed with the county. But we need to make sure he can't try anything else while he's gone." Patricia pulled up a form on her computer. "I'm filing a lis pendens, a notice of pending legal action, on the property. The moment that's filed, Robert can't sell, transfer, or mortgage the house without court approval. Even if he shows up with 50 forged signatures, the bank won't touch it." "How long does that take?" "I can file it electronically today. It'll be recorded by tomorrow morning." "Do it," she typed rapidly. "Step 2. We freeze his assets. You said he has $427,000 in that Wells Fargo account? As of October 31st. We need to prevent him from moving that money. I'm going to file an emergency motion for a temporary restraining order on all accounts in his name. We'll argue that he's dissipating marital assets, which he is, since he spent $420,000 on a condo with his girlfriend." I thought about that number. $420,000, more than I'd earned in 10 years of teaching. "How do we prove the money is marital property?" I asked. "Timeline. You've been married since 1989. Any money earned during the marriage is community property in California, regardless of whose name is on the account. He can't hide it just by putting it in his name only." "What about the Miami condo?" Patricia's smile was cold. "That's the beautiful part. He bought it using marital funds, but put it in his and Ashley's names. Not only is that dissipation of assets, it's gift of community property to a third party without spousal consent. We can sue to set aside that transfer and force the sale of the condo. Ashley won't get a penny. How long will all this take?" "The restraining order hearing will be next week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I'll request an ex parte hearing, meaning we can get it done without Robert present if the judge agrees it's an emergency." "Is it an emergency?" "Dot, your husband tried to steal $500,000 from your house. He's hidden nearly $1 million. He's planning to leave the state with assets that legally belong to you. Yes, it's an emergency." She printed out several documents and handed them to me. I need you to sign these. This is the petition for legal separation with a request for immediate temporary orders. We're asking the court to maintain the status quo, freeze all assets, prevent any transfers, and order Robert to pay all existing bills while the case is pending. I read through the documents. My name, Dorothy Marie Washington. Robert's name, respondent. It felt strange seeing our marriage reduced to legal terminology. I signed. My hand didn't shake. What happens when Robert finds out? He'll be served with papers. Probably early next week. His lawyer will call, they'll file a response, and then we fight it out in court. Patricia paused. Dot, I need you to understand. This is going to get ugly. Robert will be angry. His lawyer will try to paint you as vindictive, unreasonable, trying to punish him. They might claim you knew about the affair, consented to the financial arrangements, that you're just bitter. Let them try, I said quietly. Patricia studied me. You're different than you were yesterday. Yesterday I was a wife who'd been married 35 years. Today I'm a woman protecting what's hers. I stood up. What else do you need from me? Everything you can find. I need paper trails. I need proof of what you've paid for that house over the years. Mortgage statements, tax returns, bank records showing your deposits, utility bills in your name, everything. I need to prove that you are the one who built that asset, not him. I have all of it. I keep everything. Good. Get it to me by Monday. And Dot, she walked me to the door. Don't confront Robert yet. I know you want to, but the element of surprise is our biggest advantage. Let him go to Hawaii thinking everything is fine. Let him sit on a beach with his girlfriend while we build the cage. And when he comes back, we spring it, I finished. Exactly. I spent the weekend in my house like an archaeologist excavating my own life. 35 years of marriage, documented in banker's boxes in the garage. Saturday, November 16th. I found the original mortgage documents from 1995. Purchase price, $285,000. Down payment, $80,000 from my mother's estate. Original mortgage, $205,000, in my name only, Dorothy Marie Washington. I found every monthly payment record. 29 years of payments, each one from my checking account. Total paid to date, $387,420 in principal and interest. I photographed everything, created a spreadsheet. By 8 p.m., I had a complete financial history of that house. 1995, purchased $285,000. My down payment, $80,000. 1995 to 2024, mortgage payments, $387,420, all from my account. 1995 to 2024, property tax, $178,000, all from my account. 1995 to 2024, homeowner's insurance, $67,000, all from my account. 2010, new roof, $18,500 from my account. 2017, kitchen renovation, $34,000 from my account. 2023, HVAC replacement, $12,000 from my account. Total investment by Dorothy Washington, $776. 920 total investment by Robert Hayes, $0, not 0%. $0. In 29 years, he hadn't paid a single bill related to that house. Sunday, November 17th. I went through our joint tax returns, every year since 1989. Robert had prepared them all. He was an accountant, after all, and I'd signed where he told me to sign. I started comparing his W-2s to what he'd told me he earned. 2020, W-2 showed $118,000. He told me $85,000. 2021, W-2 showed $122,000. He told me $88,000. 2022, W-2 showed $125,000. He told me $90,000. 2023, W-2 showed $127,000. He told me $92,000. 4 years of lies. Total discrepancy. $184,000 in income I didn't know about. Where had that money gone? Into his secret account, presumably. The one with $427,000 that I wasn't supposed to know existed. I photographed every tax return, every W-2, every 1099. 35 years of financial deception, now documented in my phone. Monday, November 18th. I delivered everything to Patricia. 2 boxes of documents, a USB drive with scanned copies, a spreadsheet showing every dollar I'd spent on that house. She looked at the spreadsheet and whistled low. Dot, this is beautiful. This is exactly what we need. There's more, I said. I pulled out the tax returns. He's been lying about his income for years. Look at the difference between what the W-2 shows and what he told me. Patricia flipped through them. Her expression got harder with each page. He was hiding income while you paid all the household bills. That's not just dissipation of assets. That's economic abuse. She looked up at me. Dot, with this evidence, you're not getting 50% of that house. You're getting all of it. Can we do that? Legally? California is a community property state, which usually means 50-50, but the court has discretion to award one spouse more than half if the other spouse has committed fraud or intentionally misappropriated assets. Robert did both. He forged documents, hid income, and used community funds to buy property with another woman. A judge can absolutely award you the entire house as restitution. For the first time in days, I felt something like hope. When do we file? Tomorrow, Tuesday, November 19th. I'm requesting an ex parte hearing for Wednesday. If the judge grants it, we'll have restraining orders in place by the time Robert leaves for Hawaii. Tuesday morning, Patricia filed our petition. By noon, Robert's phone was ringing. I was in the library, shelving books, when he called me. Dot. His voice was tight, controlled. Did you hire a lawyer? My heart pounded, but I kept my voice calm. What are you talking about? I just got a call from some attorney named Patricia Johnson. She says she's representing you in a legal separation. She's filed emergency motions to freeze my bank accounts. What the hell is going on? Robert, I don't know what you're... Don't lie to me! He yelled it loud enough that I had to pull the phone away from my ear. You went through my private files. You invaded my privacy, and now you're trying to steal my money. Your money? My voice came out quiet, deadly quiet. Robert, I found the mortgage application you forged with my signature. I found the emails about your divorce plan. I found the condo in Miami you bought with Ashley. Did you think I wouldn't find out? Silence on the other end. Then, we need to talk. Come home, right now. No? What do you mean, no? I mean, I'm not coming home to be manipulated by you. Your lawyer can talk to my lawyer. That's how this works now. I hung up. My hands were shaking so badly I had to sit down on the library floor between the stacks. Around me, children were doing homework. Mothers were reading to toddlers. Life was continuing normally, while mine was falling apart. My phone buzzed. Text from Robert. You're making a huge mistake. Stop this now and we can work it out. Another buzz. I'll give you the house, just drop the legal action. Another. Dot, please, we can fix this. I turned off my phone. Wednesday, November 20th. The ex parte hearing was at 9 a.m. in Department 14 of the Stanley Moss Courthouse. Patricia had warned me I didn't need to attend. These were temporary orders, and Robert hadn't been given notice, but I wanted to be there. I sat in the gallery while Patricia presented our case to Judge Maria Rodriguez, a woman in her mid-50s with steel gray hair and sharp eyes. Your Honor, Patricia began, Mrs. Washington seeks emergency relief to prevent the immediate dissipation of marital assets by her husband, who has already transferred over $400,000 in community property to purchase real estate with his paramour, and attempted to fraudulently obtain a $500,000 mortgage on the family residence using a forged signature. She submitted our evidence. The judge read through it. The mortgage application, the bank records, the emails about the Miami condo. Judge Rodriguez looked up. Johnson, are you telling me that Mr. Hayes forged his wife's signature on a mortgage application? Yes, Your Honor. The bank's fraud department flagged it, which is why the application was denied. We have the bank's report showing signature inconsistency. And he used marital funds to purchase property with another woman? Yes, Your Honor. $380,000 for a condominium in Miami Beach, titled in his name and Ashley Morgan's name. He transferred the money from a Wells Fargo account containing $847,000 in community property. The judge was quiet for a moment, reading. Then she looked at Robert's empty chair. He hadn't been notified of this hearing, and back to Patricia. I'm granting your motion. Effective immediately, all bank accounts, retirement accounts, and real property in Robert Hayes' name are frozen, pending further order of this court. Mr. Hayes is enjoined from transferring, selling, or encumbering any assets. He is to maintain all insurance policies and continue paying all household bills from his income. She signed the order. Service on Mr. Hayes to be completed within 48 hours. Patricia thanked her. We walked out of the courthouse into the November sunshine. What does this mean? I asked. It means as of right now, Robert can't touch his money. He can't access his Wells Fargo account. He can't sell the Miami condo. He can't do anything without court permission. She smiled. And he's about to find out about it right before his romantic vacation to Hawaii. Thursday, November 21st, the day before Hawaii. Robert was served with papers at his office at 2:47 p.m. I know because Patricia's process server sent us a photo of the timestamp. Robert called me at 2:53 p.m. I let it go to voicemail. Dot, what have you done? They froze everything. Everything. I can't access my accounts. I can't. His voice broke. How could you do this to me? After everything I've done for you. I gave you a good life. I gave you this house. I deleted the voicemail halfway through. He called 6 more times. I blocked his number. He showed up at the house at 6 p.m. I'd had the locks changed on Tuesday. He pounded on the door. Dorothy, open this door. This is my house too. I called the police. Officer Martinez and Officer Chen arrived within 8 minutes. They found Robert sitting on the porch steps, head in his hands. Sir, do you live here? Officer Martinez asked. Yes, this is my house. She changed the locks. She can't do that. Officer Chen looked at me. Ma'am, is this your residence? Yes, officer. My name is on the deed. I own 85% of this property. My husband and I are separated. I filed a legal separation petition, and he's been served with a restraining order preventing him from harassing me or accessing this property. I showed them the court order from yesterday. Judge Rodriguez's signature, official court seal. Officer Martinez read it and nodded. Mr. Hayes, this is a lawful order from the court. You need to leave the property. This is insane. I've lived here for 29 years. Sir, I'm not going to ask you again. Leave now or we'll arrest you for trespassing. Robert looked at me then, really looked at me, and I saw it in his eyes, the realization that I wasn't the woman he thought I was, that I wasn't going to roll over, that I was going to fight. You're going to regret this, he said quietly. I already regret marrying you, I replied. Now get off my property. The officers escorted him to his car. I watched him drive away, taillights disappearing into the November dusk. Inside, I locked the door, the new lock he didn't have a key to, and sat on my couch in the quiet house. My phone rang. Patricia. Did he show up? Police just took him away. Good. How are you doing? I thought about it. I'm tired, I'm sad, but I'm okay. Get some rest. Tomorrow he leaves for Hawaii with Ashley, and when he gets there, he's going to find out his credit cards don't work because the accounts are frozen. That's going to be an interesting conversation. I smiled despite myself. Is that wrong? That I want him to be embarrassed in front of her? Honey, after what he did to you, you're entitled to enjoy his downfall a little bit. Robert didn't go to Hawaii. I found out later what happened. He'd gone to the airport Wednesday morning with Ashley, his mother Barbara, and my children. Yes, Michael and Sarah, who he'd lied to about the trip, telling them I was too busy with library work to join. They'd checked in, gone through security, and when Robert tried to buy coffee at a Starbucks in the terminal, his credit card was declined. Then the second card. Declined. The third. Declined. He'd called the bank from a payphone. His cell service had been shut off because the automatic payment bounced, and discovered all his accounts were frozen by court order. He couldn't buy coffee, couldn't board the plane, couldn't pay for anything. In front of Ashley, his mother, and our children, Robert Hayes fell apart. Michael called me from the airport. Mom, what's going on? Dad's saying you froze all his money. He can't pay for the trip. Grandma Barbara is crying, and there's some woman here named Ashley who keeps asking Dad what's happening. Michael, I need you to listen to me very carefully. Your father has been planning to divorce me. He's been having an affair with that woman Ashley for over a year. He bought a condo in Miami with her using money that belonged to both of us, and he tried to mortgage our house, my mother's house, without my knowledge or permission. Silence. Then, what? I found everything. Emails, bank statements, all of it. I hired a lawyer. The court froze his assets yesterday. Jesus, Mom! I heard him talking to Sarah in the background, then Sarah's voice, sharp and angry. Let me talk to her. Mom? Sarah sounded like she was crying. Is this true? About Dad and this Ashley person? It's true, baby. Where are you? Home. We're coming there, right now. What about the trip? Screw the trip. We're coming home. They arrived at my house 3 hours later. Michael, Sarah, and surprisingly, Barbara, Robert's mother. No Robert, no Ashley. I let them in, made tea. We sat in my living room and I showed them everything. The emails, the bank statements, the Miami condo deed, the forged mortgage application, Robert's divorce plan with its cold calculation that I'd be fine with my pension. Barbara was the most shaken. She was 80 years old, dignified, had never liked me much, but she sat in my armchair and stared at the evidence of her son's deception. I didn't know, she said finally. Dorothy, I swear to you I didn't know about any of this. I know. He told me you couldn't come on the trips because you were busy, or tired, or needed space. I thought, her voice broke. I thought you didn't want to spend time with us. I was never invited. Sarah was pacing. I'm going to kill him. I'm actually going to kill him. Get in line, Michael said darkly. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Dot, this is Robert. Ashley left me at the airport. Mom won't talk to me. The kids won't answer my calls. You've destroyed my life. I hope you're happy. I showed them the text. Sarah grabbed my phone and typed back. You destroyed your own life. Mom just revealed it. Sarah, Michael added, and you can forget about walking me down the aisle when I get married. Michael, Barbara didn't touch the phone, but she said quietly, tell him his mother is ashamed of him. I sent all 3 messages. Then I blocked that number too. The next morning, Thanksgiving Day, ironically, I woke up to find an official-looking envelope that had been slipped under my door. No postage. Hand-delivered. Inside was a letter from Bank of America. Notice of default property address. 847 Maple Street, Los Angeles, California, 90043. Outstanding balance, $523,477. 91 payment due. September 15th, 2024 days past. Due 71. I read it 3 times before it sank in. There was a mortgage on my house. A mortgage I didn't know about. For over $500,000. And it was in default. My hands shaking, I called Patricia. She picked up on the first ring. She knew I wouldn't call on Thanksgiving unless it was an emergency. Dot? What's wrong? I read her the letter. That's impossible, she said. The bank rejected his application. We saw the report. This isn't from that application. This is a different bank. Bank of America. The other one was Wells Fargo. I heard her typing. Forward me that letter. I'm pulling up the county records right now. I took a photo and sent it. Waited while she searched. Oh, God, she said. Dot, there's a mortgage recorded against your property. Dated September 3rd, 2024. Amount $500,000. Borrowers, Robert Hayes and Dorothy Washington. But I know. He forged your signature, again. But this time the bank didn't catch it. She was typing faster. The loan was processed. The money was transferred. Let me see where it went. I waited. Outside, I could hear my neighbors gathering for Thanksgiving dinner. Normal people having normal holidays. Dot, Patricia's voice was grim. The $500,000 was deposited into Robert's Wells Fargo account on September 5th. 2 days later, $450,000 was transferred to Arm Holdings, LLC, the company he and Ashley created. The Miami condo? Yes. And the remaining $50,000 was spent on, looks like renovations and furniture for that condo. So he stole $500,000 from my house to buy a love nest with his girlfriend. Yes. And now the bank wants their money. Yes. Patricia, I can't pay $523,000. I don't have $523,000. I'm retired. I work part-time at a library. My voice cracked. I'm going to lose my house. My mother's house. No. Patricia's voice was steel. No, you're not. Listen to me, Dot. Robert committed mortgage fraud. That's a federal crime. The signature on those documents isn't yours. We can prove that. We get a handwriting expert. We show the bank it was forged, and the bank has to go after Robert, not you. But what if they don't believe me? What if they say I should have known? What if... Stop. Breathe. We're going to fight this. I'm calling the bank tomorrow. I'm going to get us an emergency hearing. And I'm going to contact the FBI because Robert just committed a crime that carries up to 30 years in federal prison. 30 years. Robert was 58 years old. 30 years would mean he'd die in prison. Part of me felt sick at the thought. A bigger part of me didn't care. Patricia hired a private investigator named James Wilson. He was a former LAPD detective, 65 years old, black, with a quiet competence that reminded me of my late father. On Monday, November 26th, James came to my house with a folder. "Mrs. Washington, I've been looking into Ashley Morgan." "And?" "She's not who she says she is." He opened the folder. "Her real name is Amanda Morrison. She's 43 years old, from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and she's done this before." He showed me a police report from Dallas, Texas, 2019. Amanda Morrison, alias Ashley Morgan, investigated for fraud related to a relationship with a married man named Kenneth Preston. What happened? Preston was 62, recently widowed, worth about $800,000 between his house and retirement accounts. Amanda targeted him at a grief support group, started a relationship, convinced him to put her name on his bank accounts. Within 6 months, she'd transferred $300,000 to offshore accounts and disappeared. Did she go to jail? No. Preston was too embarrassed to press charges. He settled with the bank for the loss and moved to Arizona to be near his daughter. James showed me another report. Phoenix, Arizona, 2021. Amanda Morrison, going by the name Ashley Martinez, in a relationship with Thomas Chen, 59, divorced, net worth $1.2 million. Same pattern. Targeted him online, developed a relationship, got access to his finances. This time she convinced him to buy her a condo, told him it was an investment property they'd rent out, put it in both their names. 6 months later, she forged his signature to refinance the property, took out $200,000 in equity, and vanished. Did he press charges? He tried, but Amanda had already left the country. They tracked her to Costa Rica but couldn't extradite her on a civil matter. So she's a con artist. Professional. She has a partner, a man named James Morrison, possibly her brother. He helps her research targets, set up shell companies, move money. They've been running this scam for at least 5 years. I thought about Robert, my husband of 35 years, thinking he was so smart, so clever, stealing from me to build a new life with a younger woman. He had no idea he was the mark. "Mr. Wilson, where is Amanda now?" That's the interesting part. He pulled out another document. After Robert's accounts were frozen and he couldn't pay for the Hawaii trip, Amanda disappeared. But I tracked credit card charges. She flew to Miami on November 22nd, stayed at the Ocean View Towers, the condo she and Robert bought together, for 2 days. Then, on November 24th, she listed the property for sale. Quick sale, below market value. Can she do that? Sell it without Robert? The deed shows joint tenancy with right of survivorship. Either owner can sell without the other's permission. He showed me the listing. She's asking $320,000 to $60,000 below what they paid. She'll probably get offers this week, close by mid-December. Walk away with the cash. While Robert is stuck with a $500,000 mortgage on my house and no way to pay it. Exactly. Mrs. Washington, your husband thought he was running a con on you, but Amanda was running a con on both of you. I should have felt vindicated. Instead, I just felt tired. What do we do now? We contact the FBI. Mortgage fraud is federal, and if we can prove Amanda and her partner have been running this scam across state lines, that's wire fraud, mail fraud, conspiracy. The FBI will want to talk to Robert, and they'll want him to cooperate in building a case against Amanda. In exchange for what? Reduced charges. Maybe probation instead of prison. But Mrs. Washington... James looked at me seriously. That's up to you. You're the victim here. If you want to press full charges against Robert, you can. He'll go to prison. Or you can negotiate. He helps catch Amanda. He gives you everything in the divorce. And maybe he stays out of jail. I thought about Robert at the airport. His credit cards declining. His girlfriend leaving him. His children refusing his calls. I thought about him realizing that everything he'd stolen, everything he'd planned, was gone. I thought about 35 years of marriage, 2 children, Sunday dinners and Christmas mornings and the life we'd built together, back when it was real. And I thought about my mother's $80,000 and my house and the woman I'd been before I found out my husband was a liar and a thief. I want everything, I said. The house, the equity, his retirement accounts, whatever's left after we settle this mortgage. I want him to testify against Amanda. I want him to sign a full confession about what he did. And then I want him out of my life forever. James nodded. I'll let the FBI know you're willing to cooperate. And Mrs. Washington? Yes? For what it's worth, I'm sorry this happened to you. You seem like a good person who deserved better. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. I was a good person. I still am. But now I'm a good person who won't be taken advantage of again. After he left, I sat in my kitchen, my mother's kitchen, in my mother's house, and thought about everything that had happened in the past 2 weeks. Robert was broke, alone, facing federal charges. Ashley was on the run, about to disappear with $320,000. And I was still standing, still fighting, still here. My phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. Mom, Michael and I are coming for Thanksgiving tomorrow. We're bringing the food. You just rest. Love you. I smiled. Maybe I'd lost a husband, but I still had my children, my house, my dignity, and that was enough. The week after Thanksgiving, my house became War Room Central. Patricia brought her associate, a sharp young attorney named David Thompson who specialized in fraud cases. The FBI sent Special Agent Lisa Hernandez, a woman in her 40s who'd been tracking Amanda Morrison for 2 years, and James Wilson, the private investigator, coordinated everything. We sat around my dining room table, the same table where I'd set out good china for an anniversary dinner that never happened, and built our case. Here's where we stand, Patricia said, spreading out documents. We have 3 separate legal actions happening simultaneously. First, the divorce. Second, the mortgage fraud with the bank. Third, the federal investigation into Amanda Morrison. Agent Hernandez leaned forward. Mrs. Washington, I need to be honest with you. Amanda, we call her the widowmaker because she targets men who've lost their wives or are going through divorces. She's good. Very good. She's stolen an estimated $3. $2 million from 7 men over 5 years. We've never been able to catch her because her victims are too embarrassed to cooperate fully. What do you need from me? Your husband. Robert has direct knowledge of her operation. He transferred money to their joint company. He has emails, text messages, probably recorded phone calls. If he cooperates, we can build a RICO case, racketeer-influenced and corrupt organizations. That means not just Amanda, but her whole network. And what does Robert get in exchange? Reduced charges. The mortgage fraud alone carries 5 to 10 years federal prison. But if he cooperates, testifies, helps us recover assets, I can probably get that down to probation and restitution. I looked at Patricia. What do you think? Honestly, I think you use him. Let him help the FBI catch Amanda. In exchange, he signs over everything in the divorce, the house, his retirement accounts, whatever's left. He admits full fault, you get everything, and he stays out of prison. It's not perfect justice, but it's practical justice. And the bank? The $523,000 mortgage on my house? David Thompson spoke up. We have 3 options. Option 1, prove the signature was forged and force the bank to pursue Robert for fraud. They'll sue him for the full amount, but you're off the hook. Problem is, Robert's broke. They'll never collect. Option 2, negotiate a settlement. The bank absorbs some of the loss as a fraud write-off. You pay back a reduced amount, maybe $300,000 instead of $523,000. I don't have $300,000. You have equity in the house. Current value is about $900,000. If you refinance with a $300,000 mortgage at your age, with your pension and Social Security, you can probably get approved. Payment would be around $1,800 a month. Tight but manageable. And option 3? Sell the house. Walk away with about $400,000 after paying off the fraudulent mortgage. Start over somewhere smaller. I looked around my dining room. The built-in china cabinet my mother had loved. The hardwood floors we'd refinished in 2003. The view of the garden where I'd planted roses 30 years ago. I'm not selling, I said. This is my mother's house. I'm keeping it. Then we negotiate with the bank, Patricia said. I'll handle it. Robert called me on December 3rd from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Dot. His voice was hoarse, broken. Please, I need to talk to you. Talk to my lawyer. I can't afford a lawyer. They froze everything. I'm staying at a Motel 6 on Figueroa. I'm eating top ramen. I lost my job. The firm fired me when they found out about the fraud charges. I said nothing. I know I deserve this. I know what I did was... He broke off. Dot, I'm so sorry. For everything. The affair, the money, the lies, all of it. I was stupid and selfish, and I threw away 35 years for nothing. You threw it away for Amanda. She's gone. Sold the Miami condo for $315,000 and disappeared. The FBI can't find her. She played me, Dot. She played me like a fiddle. Good. The FBI says if I cooperate, they can reduce my charges. But they need you to agree. Patricia says you want everything in the divorce. The house, my retirement, all of it. That's right. Okay. He said it so quietly I almost didn't hear. Okay, you can have it. All of it. I'll sign whatever you want. I'll testify against Amanda. I'll do whatever it takes. Just please, please don't send me to prison. I'm 58 years old. I can't survive 10 years in federal prison. I thought about the woman I'd been a month ago. The woman who would have felt sorry for him. Who would have softened. Who would have said, let's work it out. But I wasn't that woman anymore. Here's the deal, Robert. You sign a full confession admitting you forged my signature on the deed modification and the mortgage. You testify for the FBI against Amanda. You sign over all rights to the house, 100%. You split your remaining retirement account 70-30 in my favor as restitution for the money you stole. And you agree to help negotiate with the bank to settle the mortgage fraud. 70-30? Dot, that's generous, considering you committed federal crimes with my money. Take it or face 10 years in prison. Your choice. Long silence. I'll take it, he whispered. December 18th, 2024, Department 14, Stanley Moss Courthouse, the divorce hearing. I wore my mother's pearl earrings and a navy suit. Patricia sat beside me. Across the aisle, Robert sat with a public defender, a tired-looking woman named Karen Mills who'd been assigned his case 2 days ago. Judge Rodriguez entered. We all stood. Be seated. Case number FL20248-847, Washington v. Hayes. Petition for dissolution of marriage. I've reviewed all submitted documents. Mr. Hayes, I understand you wish to make a statement. Robert stood. He looked terrible. 20 pounds thinner, gray-faced, wearing a wrinkled suit I recognized from 10 years ago. Yes, Your Honor. Go ahead. He pulled out a paper, hands shaking. I, Robert James Hayes, do hereby admit to the following. On or about August 15th, 2014, I forged my wife Dorothy Washington's signature on a deed modification, changing our property ownership from tenancy in common, 85% her, 15% me, to joint tenancy, 50-50. I did this without her knowledge or consent. Judge Rodriguez's expression hardened. Robert continued. On or about September 3rd, 2024, I forged Dorothy's signature on a mortgage application for $500,000, using our family residence as collateral. I did this without her knowledge or consent. I used the proceeds to purchase property with another woman, Ashley Morgan. I hid approximately $847,000 in assets during our marriage. I lied to my wife about my income for over 10 years. I planned to divorce her while claiming she was only entitled to 50% of assets I had stolen from her. His voice cracked. Everything I did was wrong. Dorothy was a faithful, devoted wife and mother for 35 years. She paid for our house with her mother's inheritance. She raised our children. She took care of my mother. And I repaid her by stealing from her and planning to abandon her for a con artist who stole from both of us. He looked at me then, really looked at me. Dot, I'm sorry. I know that means nothing now, but I'm sorry. I said nothing. Judge Rodriguez spoke. Mr. Hayes, do you agree to the terms of the settlement as proposed by Mrs. Washington's counsel? Yes, Your Honor. Let the record reflect that Mr. Hayes agrees to the following. Mrs. Washington receives 100% ownership of the residence at 847 Maple Street, valued at approximately $900,000. Mr. Hayes' retirement accounts, currently valued at $427,000, shall be divided 70% to Mrs. Washington, 30% to Mr. Hayes. Mrs. Washington receives 100% of her own retirement accounts valued at $78,000. No spousal support in either direction. Mr. Hayes agrees to cooperate with Bank of America and the FBI in their respective investigations. I agree, Robert said. Mrs. Washington, do you agree to these terms? I stood. Yes, Your Honor. Then by the power vested in me by the state of California, I hereby grant the dissolution of marriage between Dorothy Marie Washington and Robert James Hayes, effective immediately. Mr. Hayes, you have 30 days to remove your personal belongings from the residence. After that, you are not to contact Mrs. Washington except through her attorney. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor. We're adjourned. The gavel fell. 35 years of marriage ended in 18 minutes. At 2 p.m., we met with Bank of America's attorneys in a conference room at Patricia's firm. 3 lawyers in expensive suits, led by a man named Richard Chen. Mrs. Washington, Richard began, we've reviewed the evidence of mortgage fraud. We acknowledge that your signature was forged. However, the bank processed this loan in good faith based on documentation that appeared legitimate. We've suffered a loss of $500,000. Your bank failed to properly verify the signatures, Patricia countered. Your fraud department should have caught this. Mrs. Washington bears no responsibility for your negligence. Nevertheless, the property was used as collateral. We have a legal claim to nothing, Patricia interrupted. My client can file a lawsuit against you for failing to prevent fraud. We can bring in handwriting experts, demonstrate your verification process was inadequate, and seek damages for the emotional distress this has caused a 62-year-old retired teacher. Do you really want that publicity? The lawyers conferred quietly. Richard spoke again. We're prepared to offer a settlement. Mrs. Washington pays $300,000 to satisfy the debt. We absorb the remaining $223,000 as a fraud loss and agree not to pursue further action. $250,000, Patricia said. That's my final offer. Take it or see us in court. More conferring. We'll take it, Richard said. But Mrs. Washington must refinance within 60 days. I spoke for the first time. I can refinance. I've already been approved by Wells Fargo. 3.8% interest rate, 30-year term, $1,200 monthly payment. They blinked. They'd underestimated me, assumed I couldn't get financing at my age. That's acceptable, Richard said. We signed the papers. By 4 p.m., it was done. I walked out of that office with my house still mine. Yes, with a $250,000 mortgage I hadn't asked for. Yes, with monthly payments that would be tight. But mine. 6 months later, I wake up at 6 a.m. like I have every morning for the past 40 years. But now, the other side of the bed isn't empty by choice. It's empty by law. Decree of dissolution, signed and sealed. I make coffee in my kitchen, in my house. The deed is framed on the wall now. Dorothy Marie Washington, sole owner, 100%. The mortgage payment is $1,200 a month. Combined with property tax and insurance, I pay about $2,100 monthly for this house. My pension is $2,800. Social Security is $1,600. I work 20 hours a week at the library for another $1,400. Total monthly income, $5,800. After the house payment and utilities, I have about $2,500 for everything else. It's tight. Some months, it's very tight. I can't buy new clothes unless they're on clearance. I haven't gone on vacation. I clip coupons, but I have my house. I rent out 2 bedrooms to help with expenses. Both tenants are young teachers, Jasmine and Kevin, 26 and 24, just starting their careers. They pay $800 each, which helps. And honestly, it's nice having life in the house again. Last week, Jasmine made dinner for all of us. Marcus helped me plant new roses in the garden. It's different than I expected, but it's good. Robert lives in Riverside now, in a 1-bedroom apartment. He works as a bookkeeper for a small construction company, making $45,000 a year. He's on probation for 5 years. He pays $500 a month in restitution to the bank. He's tried to call me twice. Both times I didn't answer. Michael and Sarah talk to him occasionally. They're his children, and I won't stand between them, but it's strained. Formal. They have dinner with him once every few months out of obligation, not love. Barbara, my ex-mother-in-law, passed away in March. Stroke. Robert called to tell me. I sent flowers but didn't attend the funeral. I'd spent enough years taking care of her while she looked down on me. I mourned the relationship I'd wanted with her, not the one we had. Amanda Morrison was arrested in Costa Rica in April. The FBI finally caught her trying to scam a retired ambassador. She's fighting extradition, but Agent Hernandez says it's just a matter of time. Robert will testify when the trial happens. He'll have to face her again, this time in a courtroom instead of a bedroom. I hope she was worth it. It's Saturday morning. Sarah is visiting from New York with her new boyfriend, Marcus, a pediatrician she met at work. They're talking about getting engaged. Michael called yesterday from Atlanta. He got promoted to senior developer at his tech company. My children are thriving despite, or maybe because of, watching their mother fight for herself. I'm in my garden, wearing my mother's old gardening gloves, pruning the roses. They're blooming beautifully this year. Red, pink, yellow. My mother planted the first ones in 1995. I've tended them for 30 years, through marriage, children, betrayal, and rebirth. Sarah comes outside with coffee for both of us. Mom, can I ask you something? Of course, baby. Do you regret it? Fighting Dad so hard? You could have settled, taken half the house, moved somewhere smaller. Instead, you're working part-time at 62 and renting out rooms. I think about her question. Really think about it. No, I say finally. No, I don't regret it. Why not? Because this house isn't just a building. It's my mother's legacy. It's proof that her sacrifices meant something. Every overtime shift she worked, every no she told herself, it all went into that down payment. If I'd let your father take half of it, I would have dishonored her memory. I snip a dead bloom, drop it in my basket. And more than that, I needed to prove something to myself. For 35 years, I made myself smaller to keep the peace. I accepted being excluded, being lied to, being taken for granted. Your father thought I was too old, too proud, too weak to fight back. But you weren't. No, I wasn't. I stand brushing dirt off my knees. I learned something at 62, Sarah. It's never too late to stand up for yourself. Yes, I have a mortgage now. Yes, I work when I thought I'd be fully retired. Yes, I have to be careful with money. But I have my dignity. I have my home. And I have the knowledge that when everything fell apart, I didn't fall with it. Sarah hugs me. I'm proud of you, Mom. I'm proud of me too, baby. Inside, I hear Marcus laughing at something Sarah's boyfriend said. The sound of life, of family, of people who actually want to be here. I pick up my coffee, loop my arm through Sarah's, and we walk back to the house together. The house I fought for, the house I kept, the house that's mine. Epilogue. From the desk of Dorothy Marie Washington, June 20th, 2025, they asked me to write this down. The young women at the library who heard my story. The ladies at church who wanted to know how I did it. Patricia said I should write it all out, that other women need to hear it. So here it is. I'm Dorothy Washington. I'm 62 years old. I was married for 35 years to a man who lied to me, stole from me, and planned to abandon me for someone younger. When I found out, I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I didn't try to win him back. I got a lawyer. I gathered evidence. I froze his assets. I took him to court. And I won. Did I get everything I wanted? No. I wanted my marriage to be real. I wanted 35 years to have meant something. I wanted to grow old with the man I loved. But I got everything I needed. My house, my dignity, and the knowledge that I'm stronger than anyone, including myself, ever thought. To the women reading this who are going through something similar, here's what I learned. Document everything. I had 30 years of receipts, and they saved me. Get professional help. I couldn't have done this without Patricia, David, James, and Agent Hernandez. Don't be afraid to fight. Yes, it was hard. Yes, it was expensive. Yes, it was exhausting. But it was worth it. You are not too old. Society will tell you that women over 60 should be quiet, grateful, accommodating. Society is wrong. And finally, the best revenge is living well. Robert thought he was trading up. He got a con artist who stole from him and a life of probation and poverty. I got my house, my children's respect, and peace. I'd say I won. Every morning I wake up in my mother's house. I make coffee in my kitchen. I work in my garden. I help raise young teachers the way I raised my own children. With patience, firmness, and love. Some nights are hard. Some months are tight. Sometimes I'm lonely, but I'm never small, never dismissed, never taken for granted. And that's worth everything.